I was working the front desk at a boutique hotel in Stockholm when an American couple walked in, looking genuinely upset. It was around 8 p.m. on a Thursday. They'd just come back from dinner. "We need to file a complaint," the husband said, placing his palms flat on my counter. I pulled out our feedback form. Of course. "What happened?" "The restaurant down the street," his wife jumped in. The service was absolutely terrible. Our waiter was so rude to us. I knew the place. Small Italian spot, family-owned. Been there for 20 years. "I'm sorry to hear that." "What did the waiter do?" The husband leaned forward. "He didn't do anything. That's the problem. He just took our order and brought our food. No smile. No, 'How is everything tasting?' No checking on us. He acted like we weren't even there." I blinked. "Did you need something during the meal?" "Well, no, but..." The wife trailed off. He could have at least pretended to care if we were enjoying it. That's when I realized they thought neutral service was hostile service. In Sweden, leaving customers alone to eat in peace is considered polite. Hovering is rude. But to them, our normal felt ice cold. I tried explaining this. They listened, nodded, but I could tell they didn't really get it. They left the next morning, probably writing a bad review about unfriendly Swedes on the plane home, but that was just the beginning. See, I started noticing a pattern. Americans kept misreading our neutrality as negativity. German colleague told me about a tourist who got upset because a museum guard wouldn't chat with him. "He's working," she'd said. "He's not being mean, he's just focused." Saturthis. Tourist insisted the guard had an attitude. Then there was the American student in Amsterdam who posted on social media about how a cashier humiliated her by not engaging in small talk. The cashier had simply scanned her items, stated the total, and waited. That's it. No rudeness, no eye-rolling, just efficient service. But the student took it personally, made a whole video about cold Europeans. My friend, who drives a taxi in Copenhagen, told me about a businessman from Texas who got genuinely angry because my friend wouldn't give him life advice. The guy had asked what my friend thought about his career. Decisions. My friend said, "I don't know you well enough to say." Honest answer. Professional boundary. The American called him standoffish and judgmental. It clicked for me then. Americans weren't encountering rudeness. They were encountering neutrality and couldn't tell the difference. I've spent years tracking these cultural collisions, and I break down a new one every week. If you want frameworks that actually explain human behavior instead of surface-level hot takes, subscribe. Most people watch once and leave. The ones who stay, they're building a mental library of how the world actually works. They'd been trained to read neutral as negative, professional as cold, and efficiency as hostility. When we didn't perform friendliness, they thought we were performing unfriendliness. I was working as a tour guide in Berlin when I met Sarah, a study abroad student from California. She was 20, friendly enough, doing a semester at Humboldt University. Third week in, she asked if we could talk after the tour. "Everyone here hates me," she said, eyes actually watering. "My classmates, my professors, even the people at my grocery store." I was confused. "What makes you think that?" Nobody smiles at me. Nobody. I smile at people on the U-Bahn. They look away. I smile at my professor. She just nods. I smile at the cashier. He ignores me completely. She wiped her eyes. I'm trying so hard to be friendly, and everyone acts like I'm invisible. I had to stop her there. "Sarah, they don't hate you. They're just being normal. Normal is smiling back when someone smiles at you." "Not here," I said. "Here, smiling at strangers is unusual. Smiling at your professor is too casual. Smiling at a cashier interrupts their flow. You're not being rejected. You're being treated normally, and you're reading it as rejection." She stared at me. But that's so sad. How do you know if people like you? They tell you, with words, or they invite you places. But we don't use smiles as social currency like Americans do. She left, looking unconvinced. I heard she went home after 1 semester instead of the full year. Too cold, apparently. A month later, I was guiding a group through Checkpoint Charlie when a woman from Atlanta started arguing with a museum staff member. The staff member, Klaus, was in his 60s, ex-professor, very knowledgeable. He'd corrected a historical error in the woman's question, politely but directly. "Well, excuse me for not being perfect," she snapped. "You don't have to be so mean about it." Klaus looked genuinely puzzled. "I was not mean. I provided accurate information." "Your tone was mean." "My tone was neutral." She turned to me. "See? He admits he doesn't care. So rude." I tried mediating. "Klaus, she's saying you sounded upset." I was not upset. I was answering a question. He looked at the woman. "If I was upset, I would say I am upset. I do not hide feelings." The woman shook her head and walked away. Klaus turned to me. "Americans," he said, shrugging. "They think facts are aggression." Over in Helsinki, my cousin works at the main library. She told me about a retired couple from Florida who filed a complaint because the reference librarian refused to help them. Asked what actually happened. They asked where the bathroom was. Thule pointed and said, "Down the hall, second door." They wanted her to walk them there. She said no, she was helping another patron. They said she was being unhelpful. But she helped them. Exactly. She gave clear directions. But they wanted, I don't know, an escort? Conversation? She's a librarian, not a tour guide. Thule told my cousin the couple kept trying to chat with her throughout their visit, asking about her life, her family, her opinions on Finland. She answered briefly and returned to her work. They interpreted this as dismissive. "I have a job to do," Thule had explained to them. "I am doing it." "But you're doing it meanly," the wife insisted. "I am doing it neutrally." The couple left confused and slightly offended, unable to grasp that Thule wasn't being cold. She was being Finnish. I saw this play out myself in Prague. I was having coffee at a cafe near the castle, watching an American family trying to order. The waiter, young guy named Marek, took their order efficiently. No chit-chat, no questions about their day, just wrote down what they wanted and left. The father looked at his wife. "Is he mad at us? I don't know. Should we tip extra? Maybe he'll be nicer." Their teenage daughter pulled out her phone. "I'm leaving a review. This place has terrible service." I couldn't help myself. I leaned over. "Excuse me, but your waiter isn't mad. That's just normal service here." The father frowned. He barely looked at us. "He doesn't need to. He got your order right, didn't he?" "Well, yeah, but then he did his job perfectly." The mother shook her head. "In America, servers are friendly. They check on you, ask about your day, make you feel welcome. This feels like we're bothering him. You're not. He's just efficient. Friendly service here means bringing you what you ordered quickly and correctly, not performing happiness." They absorbed this, but the daughter still posted a 3-star review mentioning unfriendly staff. The service was perfect. The performance just wasn't American. I was working as a receptionist at a dental clinic in Oslo when an American woman came in for an emergency appointment. She was maybe 45. In Norway for a business conference, broke a filling that morning. Dr. Hansen saw her within an hour. Fixed the filling, explained the procedure, answered her questions. Textbook professional appointment. She paid, scheduled a follow-up for when she'd be back in Norway in 6 months. Seemed fine. 2 days later, we got an email. She wanted a refund, not because Dr. Hansen did anything wrong. The filling was perfect, but because The dentist was cold and unfriendly and made me feel uncomfortable. I called her. "Can you explain what Dr. Hansen did that made you uncomfortable?" "It's not what he did, it's how he was. No warmth, no personality. He treated me like a tooth instead of a person." "But did he hurt you? Make a mistake?" "No, the work was fine." "But he didn't." "I don't know. Connect with me?" In America, my dentist asks about my kids, my job, my vacation. We have a relationship. Your doctor treated me like I was on an assembly line. I tried explaining that Norwegian doctors maintain professional distance. It's not coldness, it's boundaries, American style. Friendliness from a doctor would actually make Norwegians uncomfortable. We'd think the doctor was unprofessional or trying to sell us something. She didn't want the refund after all. But she never understood. To her, professional meant personable. To us, professional meant professional. My roommate works at a tech startup in Amsterdam. She told me about an American developer they'd hired who quit after 3 months. Said, "The company culture was toxic." I asked what happened. "Nothing happened." That's his complaint. He said nobody celebrated his wins, nobody acknowledged his contributions, nobody made him feel valued. Did they like his work? They assigned him to major projects, gave him autonomy, included him in important meetings. Of course they valued him. Did they tell him that? She paused. We showed him by trusting him with real work. In America, I guess they need to be told. Turns out, the developer expected weekly praise, public recognition, enthusiastic responses to his ideas. He got Dutch directness instead. When his code had bugs, they told him. When it was good, they used it. He interpreted the lack of cheerleading as lack of appreciation. He kept asking if we were happy with his performance, my roommate said. We told him if we weren't happy, we'd say so. He needed more than that. He needed applause. Over in Vienna, I was grabbing lunch at a Wurstel stand when I overheard 2 American tourists complaining to each other. They'd just been to some government office, needed to register their temporary address or something. "That woman was so rude," one said. "She could barely look at us, I know, like we were bothering her by being there." I glanced up from my sausage. The clerk at the meltdown office. They turned. "You speak English?" "I live here." Was she actually rude or just neutral? She didn't smile once. Didn't say hello properly. Just asked for our papers, typed stuff, handed us a form, said, "Next." The whole thing took maybe 3 minutes. "So she processed your registration efficiently?" "Well, yes." Then she did her job. Austrian bureaucrats aren't supposed to be cheerful. They're supposed to be correct. "Was your form right?" They checked. It was perfect. Every detail accurate. "She's not being rude," I explained. "She's being Austrian." Smiling and chatting would slow down the line. Everyone would get angry. She served you quickly and correctly. That's respect, not rudeness. One of them got it. The other still looked. Offended, a friend who works at a pharmacy in Krakow told me about an American expat who switched pharmacies because their pharmacist seemed annoyed all the time. I asked what the pharmacist actually did. Her job. She filled prescriptions, explained dosages, answered medical questions. But apparently she didn't seem happy enough about it. Was she actually annoyed? No, just focused. She's a pharmacist, not a talk show host. But the American kept trying to make conversation, asking about her weekend, complaining about Polish weather, telling stories about her kids. Zofia would answer briefly and get back to work. The American decided Zofia disliked her. Did Zofia dislike her? Zofia didn't think about her at all. That's the point. To Zofia, this was a professional transaction. To the American, it was a social interaction that failed. I saw it myself in Budapest. I was on the tram when an American guy, maybe 30, digital nomad type, got into a weird exchange with the ticket controller. The controller checked his ticket, saw it was valid, nodded, moved on. "Excuse me," the American called out. Did I do something wrong? The controller turned back. Your ticket is valid. Okay, but you seemed upset. I am not upset. Your face? This is my face. The American laughed nervously. Right. Sorry, You looked angry. I am working. The controller moved on. The American sat there, convinced he'd somehow offended the guy. He hadn't. The controller was just a middle-aged Hungarian man doing his job with a neutral expression. That's it. But the American needed reassurance, needed confirmation that everything was okay, needed some signal of approval. He never got it, because it wasn't being offered, and he took the absence of warmth as presence of coldness. I was working as a bank teller in Zurich when an American businessman came in to open an account. He was relocating for work, had all his documents ready, seemed prepared. My colleague Petra handled his application. She was efficient, as always, checked his passport, verified his residence permit, explained account types, processed his paperwork. 12 minutes start to finish. He signed the final form. Is there a problem? Petra looked up. No, your account is now open. You seem frustrated with me. I am not frustrated. Your account is complete. You will receive your card in 5 business days. He hesitated. It's just, you're very serious. I am processing financial documents. Should I be laughing? He left looking uncertain, like he couldn't tell if the appointment went well. It went perfectly. He just expected Swiss banking to come with Swiss warmth. That's not how Swiss banking works. A few weeks later, a study abroad student from Michigan came in, crying. She'd been yelled at by her landlord, or so she thought. I helped her calm down. Got the story? He banged on my door at 7 in the morning, screaming at me in German. I don't even know what I did wrong. Did you use a translator app? Find out what he said. He said I was making too much noise at night. But I wasn't screaming. I was just existing. Talking on the phone with my mom, listening to music at normal volume, having friends over. Regular stuff. What time? Like 10, 11 p.m.? Not even that late. I explained Swiss quiet hours. p.m. to 7 a.m. Noise restrictions are serious. Not a suggestion. A rule. Talking at normal. American volume after 10 p.m. counts as a disturbance. Your landlord wasn't yelling because he hates you. He was yelling because you were breaking building rules repeatedly. But I didn't know. Did he explain it in your rental contract? She checked her phone, scrolled through the PDF, found the clause. She'd signed without reading. He wasn't being mean, I told her. He was being direct about a problem. That's normal here. We don't do the polite hinting thing. If there's an issue, we say it clearly. She moved out 2 months later. Couldn't adjust. Over in Copenhagen, my friend Mikkel works as a bike mechanic. He told me about an American customer who accused him of being passive-aggressive because Mikkel pointed out that his bike was damaged from improper use. I just explained the chain was worn because he wasn't lubricating it, Mikkel said. Basic maintenance. I wasn't judging him. I was diagnosing the problem. What did he say? He said I was making him feel stupid. I told him he wasn't stupid, just uninformed. That made it worse somehow, because you confirmed he didn't know something. But he didn't know something. That's not an insult, it's a fact. How else do I explain the repair? The American ended up going to a different shop, one with a more friendly mechanic. That mechanic charged him twice as much and did a worse job, but at least that mechanic smiled while doing it. I was at a train station in Munich when I witnessed an American woman having a meltdown at the DB ticket counter. She'd missed her train to Prague because she showed up 2 minutes after departure. You could have held it, she insisted to the clerk. We do not hold trains. It's 2 minutes. The train departed at the scheduled time. But I'm here now. I bought a ticket. Your ticket was for the 14:17 train. It is now 14:19. The next train is at 16:17. This is ridiculous. In America, they'd help me out. The clerk, a woman in her 50s, looked at her steadily. This is not America. Trains leave on time. That is why people trust the schedule. You're being so rigid. I am being accurate. You missed your train. I can sell you a ticket for the next one. The American wanted sympathy. She wanted the clerk to bend rules, make exceptions, acknowledge that yes, this situation was unfair and unfortunate. The clerk gave her facts and solutions. To the American, this felt cold. To the clerk, this was professionalism. Cousin in Rotterdam works at the immigration office. She told me about an American couple applying for residence permits who got upset because she corrected errors on their forms. They took it personally, she said, like I was attacking them. What kind of errors? Wrong date format, forgot to sign one page, left a field blank. Standard stuff. I pointed it out, they got defensive. What did they say? The husband said I had an attitude. I said, no, I have a job. If I submit forms with errors, they get rejected, and you wait another 3 months. I'm helping you. Did they get that? Eventually. But the wife asked if I was always this stern. I said, I'm not stern, I'm thorough. She said those feel the same. They got their permits, but left a negative review online about the unwelcoming immigration office. My cousin found it, showed me. We processed their application in 6 weeks instead of 12. I answered every question. I stayed late to help them. But because I didn't smile enough, I'm unwelcoming. That's the thing. Europeans don't confuse efficiency with hostility. We understand that someone can help you without performing joy about it. Americans seem to need the performance, even when the substance is there. This is the kind of cultural psychology most commentary channels won't touch, because it requires actual field work, not just reacting to headlines. I document these invisible friction points because someone needs to. If you're tired of surface-level observations and want the anatomy of why cultures clash, you know what to do. I was working the night shift at a hospital reception in Reykjavik when an American man came in with his wife. She'd twisted her ankle hiking near Seljalandsfoss. Nothing serious, but painful. The ER doctor, Anna, examined her quickly, confirmed no fracture, wrapped the ankle, prescribed basic pain relief, explained rest and ice procedures. Efficient, professional, thorough. The whole visit took 40 minutes. At checkout, the husband asked to speak to a supervisor. Was there a problem with Dr. Anna's care? I asked. The care was fine. She was just so clinical. No bedside manner. My wife was in pain and scared, and the doctor treated her like a sprained ankle, not a person. I pulled up the file. Dr. Anna documented that she explained every step of the examination, answered all your questions, and ensured your wife understood the treatment plan. Is that incorrect? No, she did all that, but she didn't seem to care. She cared enough to stay past her shift to see you. She cared enough to be thorough. What additional caring did you need? He struggled to answer. I don't know. Warmth? Empathy? Your wife received excellent medical care. Dr. Anna's job is to diagnose and treat injuries, which she did. If you wanted someone to hold your hand and say everything will be okay, that's a different service. He paused. You're saying doctors here don't have to be nice? They have to be competent. Dr. Anna was extremely competent. She wasn't mean to your wife. She was neutral. And neutral is not the same as negative. Something clicked. He got it finally. So when people seem cold here, they're not cold. They're just not performing warmth. And you're mistaking the absence of performance for the presence of hostility. They left, the wife limping but understanding. I watched them go, hoping they'd remember this. Because here's what I've learned. Americans don't just expect friendliness. They expect the performance of friendliness. The smile, the enthusiasm, the validation. When Europeans give them substance without style, they feel rejected. But we're not rejecting them. We're just being ourselves. And ourselves is neutral by default. That American couple at my hotel in Stockholm, the ones who complained about the restaurant, I saw them a year later. They came back. This time, they knew what to expect. They didn't mistake efficiency for rudeness. They didn't need servers to perform joy. They'd learned what took me years to understand. European neutrality isn't coldness, it's just the baseline. Everything else is extra. And these stories? They never stop coming. I collect them, analyze them, and publish the patterns weekly. Because most people are stuck, reacting to cultural confusion instead of understanding it. The subscribers here aren't looking for entertainment. They're looking for the operating system behind human behavior. If that's your speed, subscribe. I don't chase viral moments. Decode the invisible mechanics that actually run the world. Maybe one day they'll stop expecting us to smile through everything. Until then, I'll keep working my desk, being professionally neutral, and watching the confusion unfold.